Hey everyone, Devin Valancourt here. Today I'm going to be walking you through the rig I use with my band, Western Education Live. We're using a combination of Motu gear to do our backing tracks, live in-ear monitoring, and light show. Check it out.
So first I'm going to walk you through the signal flow of the rack. We start over here with the microphones. The inputs we're taking include kick, snare, guitar, bass, keyboards, and 3 vocal microphones. So those all plug into the patch bay, which just includes XLR and line level inputs. They're then routed to a Proco MS82, which is a 8-channel signal splitter. It has 2 outputs. It has direct output and isolated output. The reason you want 2 outputs is the transformer gets rid of ground hum between 2 different circuits of power. So typically a stage in a venue will be on one circuit and then front of house will be on the other side of the venue on a different circuit of power. There's a difference in the power that causes a 60 hertz hum. So if you use these isolated outputs, it eliminates that entirely. So the microphones go into the patch bay, into the Proco, and then they are then split through the isolated output back through the patch bay, which are then out to front of house. This allows us to branch off a signal into our Motu boxes, and front of house still gets their signal uninterrupted. We take the direct output of this unit and we go into our 8M. So the 8M is used as our preamps for all these interfaces. The 8M is connected to an AVB switch and a monitor 8, all using Ethernet. That way these 2 boxes can communicate with each other and pass signal back and forth any way you want. So the way we do it is we take our signal from the 8M through the switch into the monitor 8. Within the monitor 8, we use the virtual mixer. This is where we do all of our individual mixing for each member's in-ear monitors. This way, I can have much more metronome and bass drum and snare than, say, our singer, who would want much more of his own vocal and maybe backing tracks. Also connected to the switch is a router. The router allows all of us to use the Motu app to control our mixes on our phones, on our tablets, on our computers, pretty much anything that can connect to Wi-Fi. This allows us to not have to bring a console, and everyone can adjust their own mix on their own. The monitor 8 also handles our backing tracks, which come from our laptop over here. So a laptop is connected to the monitor 8, which does our digital to analog conversion. That goes back up to the Proco, and using the isolated output back through the patch bay, which is then to front of house. We also do a multi-track record of all our rehearsals and live shows. The way we do that is, same deal, microphones, patch bay, Proco, direct out into the 8M. Then, out of the 8M, is connected another record device. Right now we're using an iPad. You could also use another computer. Last but not least are our lights. That's also connected to the laptop, which goes through a DMXS interface, and then to the lights. The idea behind this whole system working is that the venue will be providing microphones and it will already be connected to the system. The way our system integrates is we basically branch off of that already existing connection. So, typical workflow for us would be show up, microphone's already set up with the cable plugged into it going to front of house. We would take this cable, which is still connected to front of house, over to our rack. And let's say this is vocal microphone 1. We'll go into vocal microphone 1. Then we'll take our own cable, which we bring, go into the input of microphone 1. We're working backwards here as far as signal flow goes. Then plug our cable back into the microphone. Now what we've done is go from the microphone through our cable into our patch bay, then through the inside of the rack, through this Proco, and then the direct output goes into our 8M, and the isolated output goes to this patch bay. Essentially what we've done is this. So front of house has no difference in their signal. They're still getting the microphones exactly how they want it, no preamps change, anything like that. And we have the isolated output on this, so any ground difference hum is eliminated as well. That's how the system works. That's kind of the workflow. As I said, this is our microphone preamp, which goes into the AVB switch via Ethernet, which is connected to the monitor 8. And connected to the router, which is down here as well. So the keys and guitar are 2 line inputs. Keys, we typically run mono, so out of the left master out of the keys, we go into a DI box to front of house. The right side of the master output, using an instrument cable, comes into here, and then through the system as normal. The guitar, we come out of the effects loop out of an amplifier. This is a post preamp pre-amplifier signal. We get all of the tone
and coloration of the amplifier without the amplified volume. Just using an instrument cable, we can come out of the amplifier into here without using an amp modeler or anything like that. The monitor 8 for the backing tracks through one of the balanced outputs goes back into the Proco, isolated output, over here to the output label tracks. So we don't need a DI box for our backing tracks either. Front of house just gives us the XLR through whatever input they want, and we're set to go on that. Out of the USB of the 8M, we have connected our iPad using the camera adapter to go from USB to Lightning. Within the iPad, we're using just the Cubasis app. There's a ton of apps. You can use really whatever you want. And as you can see here, we have all our inputs. So we have metronome, our click track, backing tracks, kick, snare, guitar, bass. The Monitor 8 is connected to the laptop over here using this loom. This loom includes 2 USB cables, one for the Monitor 8, one for the DMX's lighting controller, a power extension cord in case there's not an outlet back behind the drums where this lives, and a headphone extension. And a loom is just multiple cables taped together, so you only have to coil one instead of 4 or 5 or 10 or however many you have. So this is what lives back at the drum riser where I'm triggering all of the backing tracks. So we have the 2 USB cables, power, and then my in-ear monitors connected to the headphone extension here. Also in the back of the rack, we have the DMX's lighting controller back here. That's just connected via USB, and then DMX comes out of it, 3-pin DMX. And we have our battery backup here. Now this is not only a power conditioner, but if something comes unplugged or a circuit breaker trips, this rig still stays on. Everything is on battery backup, and this runs for a few minutes until we can fix the problem. This is the routing page that you use to control the Motu units. This is the Monitor 8, which we've affectionately called Admin. We want to give it some sort of self-aware nickname, kind of like a unofficial member of the band. If we go to the routing page, you can see our backing tracks are coming from computer. The tracks come out of 5 and 6, and the click track comes out of 3 and 4, which comes into the mix in. This is the virtual mixer in. So we have our tracks and our click track. Then through an AVB stream, which is how the units connect together, we are taking the microphone inputs from the 8M. This is how we get everything from the microphone into the virtual mixer here. So if we go into the mixer, this is where the master mixing is done. We're running some high-pass filters on some things like the vocal microphones, a little EQ on the kick and snare microphones, a little reverb on the vocal microphones, and then here is the master send for all of our mixes. Everyone can tweak their mixes how they need. If we go to aux mixing, this is where we can adjust all of our mixes, say like on our phones or our tablets. The mix target is me. This is kind of a visual layout of what my mix is. This would be our singer, so on and so forth. If we go to mic preamp record rig, this would be the 8M. You can see it is slaved to the Monitor 8 as far as the clock goes, just to keep them in sync with each other. Since we're passing signal back and forth, it's good to keep them clocked together as well. You can see we have a pad on some of the inputs. We use V-limit and soft clip just in case signal gets really hot. That's one of the downsides of having to rely on the venue's microphones. You have to do the best you can if you haven't used a microphone before. We have our AVB streams input and output set up. The routing, microphones 1 through 8 are routed to AVB stream 1. Those are going to the Monitor 8. They are also going to the mix in, as well as another AVB stream coming from the Monitor 8, which is the stereo click track and the stereo backing tracks. Those are all going into the mix in of the 8M. The reason we do that is if we don't want to multi-track record, we can do a mix down here of all the inputs. Right here, to computer, USB, that is the iPad connected. So you can see we have the mics and then also the click tracks and backing tracks. The DAW we use is Logic X. You can use any DAW you want. Digital Performer is great. Ableton is great. They all do what you need them to do. We're not doing anything specialized. So the way we have it set up here is we have our stereo backing tracks, our stereo transitions, a MIDI channel for our light show, and then our click, sound, and automation. This is so we can manipulate the volume of the click and have it drop out at certain points. And then album tracks for reference when we're programming lights or something like that.
These are muted. We don't use these for a show or rehearsal. You can see all of our tempos are laid out here for each song. So if we zoom in, say, on Skin Deep here, you can see I have the metronome set to 166, which it was recorded at, and the backing tracks go along with it. If you look at our outputs here, we have our tracks and transitions going out output 5 and 6, and our click track going out output 3 and 4. So we have the dedicated outputs going to the routing page on the Monitor 8. And then the light show, we're running the DMXS app within here, and you can see we have all of our lighting presets. These are controlled through this MIDI lane here. You can see each of these MIDI notes is a change in the lighting preset and a change in the lighting look.
So that's it. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.